If you've been gaming on PC as long as I have, well then you're going to be understanding of what's been going on with Valve. You see, they have been part of PC gaming, or at least the staple of gaming on PC, for almost 20 years, ever since they launched Steam. Now, Steam has had its ups and downs throughout that time. In fact, when Valve first announced Steam, locking it with Half-Life 2 and even Counter-Strike, people were not happy at all. In fact, a lot of the comments and the perception of what Valve was doing was actually completely anti-consumer. But fast forward those 20 years and Valve is where they are today. They've launched their second Steam controller, which honestly, in my opinion, is one of the best controllers I've ever used. They launched the Steam Machine, which personally to me is way too expensive as well, where Valve should have taken a financial loss on selling it in the first place. And they've also begun implementing SteamOS across the board to multiple desktops and even to NVIDIA users. So Valve has been, in my opinion, on a massive uptick overall with everything they've been doing across the board. Steam updates, new hardware, and everything else in between. The problem, though, is that it looks like Valve may be in bigger trouble than we actually might have imagined. Not with lawsuits, not with real ID, but in their own storefront and the games they're actually trying to sell. You see, Steam is massive. In fact, more games released per month on Steam than anything else ever in the entire gaming industry. And that's just saying something. Steam has had its issues before with games though. And even then, with Project Greenlight no longer being in effect, there are still multiple games listed on Steam that are just broken, buggy, or just really aren't worth your time and or money. The problem that we're going to be talking about today, though, isn't the fact that games are bad or games are low quality on Steam, is that some games may in fact be stealing your personal information and even your bank accounts. Because according to Watcher.guru on Twitter posting, the FBI arrests a hacker for hiding crypto-stealing malware inside Steam video games. Once installed, the malware stole passwords, data, and drained victims' crypto wallets. Oh yeah, we've heard this kind of thing happen before with games on Steam. In fact, there was one time where a cancer patient had his entire crypto wallet completely drained after trying to go through and raise money for his own treatments. And it's happened before with other people as well. People uploading games that are nothing more than just malware riddled with everything across the board, and Valve being completely unable to quality control or even have these games removed in a specific amount of time. That's where things get really sticky, because it turns out it's not just one person doing it, it's actually multiple people, and it's spread farther than we actually would like it to be. In fact, the article from Game Rant went into more detail, and here's what happened. A Florida man, of course, it had to be from Florida. Why is it always my state, bro? Okay, anyways, let's get back into it. Has been arrested following a federal criminal complaint alleging that he participated in a conspiracy to infect Steam users with malware and consequently steal from them. Authorities believe the attacker was not working alone and has stolen at least $220,000 worth of cryptocurrency fund from thousands of Steam users. According to a 15-page federal complaint filed July 15, 2026, the FBI believes that Wilkins and several known and unknown co-conspirators launched 8 malware-embedded games between May 2024 and February 2026. Investigators estimate that approximately 8,000 devices were infected, allowing the conspirators to access around 80 cryptocurrency wallets and steal digital assets worth of at least $220,000. The complaint identifies 5 of the allegedly compromised games as Dashverse, Lunara, Pirate-Fi, Blockbusters, and Lampy. The other 3 titles used in the scheme are not named outright, but are reportedly no longer available on Valve's storefront. So yeah, we're not looking good at all for what Valve is in fact doing. And watching as the FBI has already talked about this earlier in the year, trying to investigate what Steam has been doing as well, really doesn't bode well for the platform and the storefront overall. Look, I love Valve, but there are a lot of shortcomings that are still happening with Steam right now. And the fact that even though they have a lot of automated ways of making sure that the games that they're selling you are correct, it turns out things still slip through the cracks. And that's where this is going to get really weird weird and sketchy for a lot of people. Indie games have been the backbone and cornerstone of PC gaming for an incredibly long time, and many games that fly under the radar are usually the ones that blow up and have the most people enjoy them overall. We've seen this happen multiple times on Steam right now. In fact, another high-profile game had the exact same thing happen to them later on in this video. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around and see what they did. But the fact that Valve has still stayed quiet about this or hasn't had some way of implementing some form of security or check-in being able to go through to stop malware infecting your own PC from a game you bought is a real issue. Does this put Valve in a legal situation where they are now responsible for other crypto wallets because they sold the game to you? Or is there some legal loophole that just completely voids them of having to be responsible for a game that you purchased or a game that you bought on their own storefront? I think this is where a lot of the rubber is going to meet the road with everything moving forward in this space right now. And Valve has to be able to do in some capacity of providing you with some safety overall with the games that they sell you on their platform. Even though Steam and PC gaming is an open platform on its own, there are some security risks that you might have to deal with. Buying games from people that you don't even know about. Anything with Web3 should be an automatic red flag. And I think the crazier part is, it's not just the games that are a problem. Apparently, the forums are an issue too. Because according to Bleeping Computer on Twitter posting, Steam forum Clickfix attacks infect gamers with MX Rig crypto miners. With the article saying, Steam discussion forums are being abused in Clickfix attacks that pretend to be fixes for a game and computer problems, but actually infect devices with crypto miners. Bleepy Computer learned of the campaign from a reader who told us threat actors are creating random Steam accounts to post what appears to be helpful fixes for people's posts about games crashing, lost inventory items, and other technical issues. The threat actors reply to posts telling other members to open PowerShell as an administrator and run a command to fix the issue. However, when executing the command, it quietly downloads an XMRig miner executable and launches it on the computer. With one example from Fishsticks saying, game crashed and items disappeared. The game crashed because of failed server connection, and now all items equipped and inventory are gone. And ZZRNJ replying with the actual Clickfix hack saying, yo, had the same issue, try this, Win plus R, type PowerShell, right click, run as admin, paste this, putting the actual code in for the miner, and then restart after, let me know if it works. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta be upfront and honest with you guys. Never, ever, under any circumstance, should you be opening PowerShell at all. Unless you are knowing exactly what you're doing. You know exactly where the code is coming from, and you know exactly who's giving it to you. Literally, never, ever open PowerShell, ever. Just don't do it. Unless it is like an actual person who has proper credentials and they are someone who can stand to lose quite a bit from giving you that incorrect information, do not open PowerShell. Even as someone like myself who's been on PC for quite some time, I still don't open that damn thing because I know I'm gonna mess something up. That is for people who are way beyond our pay grades in PC gaming. Simply do not do it. And this is the part where things are getting incredibly scary. You see, first it was, oh, this game could have malware because it's attached to anything with Web3 or anything crypto. That could be a problem. Now we have to avoid those games. Now we're getting to the point as well where we now have to avoid the actual forum posts, one of the main places that people in fact communicate on Steam to have games to be fixed or find other ways around it. So we are literally in two separate zones of areas where Steam is in fact not safe at the moment right now. But it looks like there's even a third, and it's impacting one of the biggest games releasing this year. Because according to Dexerto on Twitter, hackers hid malware inside Mecha Chameleon Steam Workshop maps that infected PCs when players loaded them in-game. The attack bypassed two-factor authentication and took over the game's official Discord server. With the article saying, Mecha Chameleon players have been warned to update the game and avoid its original Discord server after malicious Steam Workshop maps infected PCs and helped attackers compromise a developer account. The security issue was first detailed by independent researcher Feint, who investigated reports of command prompt windows appearing as players loaded custom Mecha Chameleon maps. Feint discovered that a workshop map named Lasertag Neon contained code capable of writing a batch file to a player's document folder. That file then attempted to use PowerShell to download and execute a second malicious payload from an external server. The map was removed, although Feint later reported that another malicious upload named Chroma Grid Arena had appeared in its place. Okay, I'm sick of this. I'm tired of it. I'm over it. The fact that we are watching right now, as even when you are playing a video game that has nothing to do with crypto at all, has nothing to do with PowerShell whatsoever, is going around and having community-made maps that people will put on for the actual storefront to go ahead and say, hey, here's a mod that I made. Here's a community workshop that I worked on. Check this out. Sign up for this, which everybody, in fact, does on Steam to get mods easier. Well, even those aren't safe now. First it was the games, then it was the forums, now it's the actual community workshop itself. I think Valve has a real problem on their hands at this moment in time that needs to be fixed before anything, and it shouldn't be after people get their PCs infected with malware. And again, opening PowerShell, opening up a command prompt window. All these things are actual issues, and PC gamers should in fact be aware of them. If you ever see a command prompt or a DOS prompt window pop up on screen and then close away quickly, you've got a problem. If you ever see PowerShell open up and then close quickly, you've got a problem. Disconnect everything from the internet, turn everything off, and then go back into safe mode without network and go through and try to fix this issue and run every kind of sort of antivirus thing that you could possibly imagine to catch these issues. Because clearly what's going to be going on is that people are going to be abusing Steam's own systems to try and gain whatever information they possibly can from you, either through community workshop maps, through forum posts, or even the games themselves, getting access to your crypto wallet, your personal files, and everything else across the board. Valve has to do something or find some way to restrict these kinds of games, these kinds of workshop maps, and even community posts should be removed quickly if reported on by the actual user. The fact that the FBI had to get involved in the first set of hacking that happened overall. The fact that a game like Mecha Chameleon is now being abused by people creating workshop maps that have batch files to download actual malicious software to their PC is also a problem as well. And this kind of stuff could be caught very easily, especially if users are doing it on their own before launching anything in the first place. It's that actual trust factor that Valve has built up over those 20 years. But if they don't continually have that trust factor full, and if they don't go around and find some way of protecting their own users from these malicious attacks, that's going to be a bigger problem in this space and could cause other people to find other platforms or other ways of getting their games in the first place. And to make matters even worse, it could also impact indie devs who are just starting out, who aren't trying to do anything malicious to you at all, but people do not have the ability to trust those developers to pay that money and infect their own PCs as even a possibility in the first place. And that could be where all of this, in fact, could fall apart. And Valve should do something in this space right now to make sure that you as a customer are, in fact, protected. Hopefully, they can figure something out in this spot, but I think at the moment in time, it's going to have to be just using your cautious and ability to figure out, hey, don't download anything you don't know, don't buy from a developer you don't understand, and clearly don't use any community mod maps unless they are upvoted by the community themselves. And I think that's going to be the safest play overall for right now until Valve figures something out in this spot. The fact that so many hackings happen in such a short amount of time, the fact that so many issues were occurring in this space, and the fact that even a game like Mecha Chameleon isn't safe, doesn't bode well for the gaming industry trying to go all digital. And even with a company like Valve, who's been doing it for 20 years, it's still a problem right now. And it'll be an even bigger problem if something isn't done about it. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear what you guys got to say about this in the comment section down below. Do you buy any games that nobody knows about? Have you ever been infected by malware on your PC from buying a game on Steam? And do you also kind of think twice before trying to see what any other person is posting on their forums? I want to hear what you got to say. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you want to see more of this kind of content or even daily live streams starting at 10:30 a.m. to around 2 p.m., subscribe to the channel. We stream games here every single weekday and get to hang out with one of the best communities all on YouTube. New video uploads are also done every Monday. As always, Have a great one, and I'll see you guys next time.